Okay guys, I am buzzing. So this is my first time here actually at Gsiq. Lizzie, this is a £1 billion facility. Billion, okay, maybe not a billion, it's a lot. It's
maybe a little less.
Okay. I may have ordered, not a billion, but it's expensive. But this is where, and Lizzie, you could correct me if I'm wrong, this is where all the innovation goes down. So they've moved a lot of the innovation guys, the product guys over here. There's these massive machines where we can do everything on site. Lizzie, did I miss anything?
I mean, like, so the big seamless machines that you may have seen like in some of the past vlogs that we've done, we've got like double the amount here now, which you might be able to get a sneak peek down when we go have a look. But yeah, like we've got most of the different teams, brand team based around here now, so it's so nice to have like a really kind of big open space now where the team can kind of all come together. And it's better for us to all kind of like work together more collaboratively because we're all in the same building now, which is really good.
Oh, also as well, Lizzie, am I right in thinking as well, there's a wall that smells nice?
Yeah, the closer you get to it, the more intense the smell gets. Like they'll get to a point you're going to be waiting for it and you'll be like, and then you'll be hit with it.
That's the main thing. I saw this on Ben's first vlog actually, and he was talking about the innovation and everything that's going down here, but if I'm honest, he had me at smelly wall. So I do want to see the innovation. I do want to see like the seamless machines and everything and where all of the money's been invested, but just want to smell a wall, to be honest.
Ring lights and everything, if you really want like proper lighting in your meeting.
Oh my god.
Smell it yet?
Yeah.
That is a real treat. That is a treat for the nostrils.
Yeah.
What is that? What am I picking up? Pine?
Moss.
Yes, Liv.
Moss.
Oh, it's everything I wanted it to be.
Go on, give it a whiff.
Can you smell it from here?
Yeah.
Smell. That is really quite good. That is good. Liv, what is it?
I think it is some kind of moss.
It's genuine moss.
Yeah, it's real. It grows.
Whose job is it to spray the moss? Who's head of moss? That is unbelievable. Chief of moss.
Yeah.
Well, this has been amazing. Anything else now is going to be a bonus, quite frankly. This is amazing.
And then if you come through here, this is where the innovation team are based, and these are the big machines that I was telling you about. So this is how seamless product is made. So seamless leggings in this machine come out of here, and that's how it's done. It means that we can kind of make samples, do things really quickly in-house straight away. And we've got like double the amount, like even more than double the amount of machines that we had back over at LC. So it just means we can be so quick and reactive moving forward.
This is legit working now. Let me just design some leggings. What are you making? I don't know what that is.
Let's just be like test some. Yeah, I mean that suits you. It could be put it around your neck, and it could be like something from like
negligee. I like it.
Nice.
I'll order 10.
How would you explain this part? It's more like the spine pieces. Yeah.
So seamless products will go over there to get made up, but they also do cut and sew with like woven materials and everything too. So
This is a lot bigger, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
they're basically industrial dyeing machine.
Oh my god, this is it. How much will one of these be? Wedge.
I can't tell. You'd have to ask that.
Oh my god. You could fit in here.
Yeah.
Wouldn't recommend it, but you could go.
Washing machine size I actually need for all my clothes.
Wow. This is so cool.
It is very cool.
I was happy with the smelly wall, but this is. Is that what I think it is? Very, very important. Very important. Top secret.
You know how like Ben started with like screen printing, you know, back in the car? This is just like a big version of that.
This is it. This is essentially what Ben started with.
But
Times.
much more technical.
Right.
Times by 10.
And then we've got a sublimation frame at the back there.
This would have been hard to fit into Ben's room if he was just printing them. That's pretty epic. Not sure what a lot of it does, but I'm impressed.
Yeah.
That is really quite cool. Yeah. So that just means as well is that any innovation, it just gets done so much quicker because we've got everything in house. We can just turn it around.
Exactly. Yeah, we can be a lot more reactive having it all in house, because before sometimes it made things a little bit slower with it being in different buildings or different parts of the country, but it means that we can do things really reactive. If we see something really cool, we'll be like, right, let's go try that, downstairs, let's go do it, and it's such a quicker way of working. I think there might be a bit of the legal team on this team as well. But yeah, so this is this floor, and then if you come upstairs,
I don't know what that looked like.
I got to be and the legal team.
We are starting the strength session now, building some Poseidon power. Does that sound good?
Yeah.
Poseidon power.
I don't know what that means.
So I always start, I feel like a broken record, but this is one of the most underutilized forms of strength prehab, which is just brachiating. It's just dead hanging, decompressing the spine, but the main thing is just using the shoulder joint like nature intended. I always say this, and it's just this idea that we share a shoulder joint with the great apes, but we're sat there at work, like hunched over, typing on our phones and stuff like that, just sat there. So we're not actually using the shoulder joint like nature intended. So it's just nice just to stretch that out, scapula, rhomboids, latissimus dorsi, and then even as well, just start going into some slight passive into active hanging. So you're working the scapula, but also a lot of the smaller muscles as well, teres minor. Just get everything firing. It's basically, it's almost like neural priming as well. So I talk about that a lot. In that if you go into the gym, a good example is almost like deadlifting, for instance. If you're fit and athletic, you can go in the gym, you can just get wrapped up and you can pull a pretty decent deadlift. But the body's just not firing that kinetic chain, how the muscles, joints, everything work cohesively together. So what I quite often do when I was deadlifting, I don't really deadlift much anymore just because I'm swimming so much, but start performing some sub-optimal, sub-maximal snatches, just get everything working. So then when you come to deadlift, everything's firing. Equally, box jump, before your squat, or plyometric push-ups before your bench. You're just getting that central nervous system and everything quite excited. And I think it's the same with brachiating. Whenever I do anything on a sort of back day, if you want to call it like a back day, like physiologically, or looking at it biomechanically, if you look at a pull day, it's just making sure that everything in the back is firing before you even pick up a weight. Just stretching out. I don't really get too prescriptive with this as well. A lot of people are like, you do it for 30 seconds, a minute. I'm like, well, as long as you're feeling it in your scapula, that's the main thing. That was a long-winded warm-up. I hope you enjoyed it. My favourite shoulder condition exercise, I always talk about this medicine ball throws, just catching, it's basically forcing that eccentric contraction in the shoulder, quite similar to when you're swimming, concentric contraction, throwing up. So I always say you just need a little bit of coordination when doing this as well. But it's just there, stretching out, eccentric, concentric, eccentric, concentric, eccentric. The theory around this as well is mechanotransduction. So that just means a lot of people will talk about the muscle responding to stress and stimuli and forces, and what they don't understand is actually the tendons and ligaments, the joint itself, will also respond to the forces imposed on it. So that is mechanotransduction. That is essentially what we're doing here. Oh, the left's not bad. This was the one I had shoulder surgery on, and it's been one of the best exercises. However, I eased into this. I was doing this just with no weight at all, and I've slowly built up. But again, that was really interesting because when I had my surgery, I think, shout out actually to Jeff and Jono. I've talked about them on previous videos, but they were amazing because I think after surgery, absolutely rest and recovery, you need to. But so often people kind of wrap themselves in bubble wrap and they don't want to move, and if you do that, you know, scar tissue can form in a certain way and you're not actually, you know, strengthening the joint that's just been injured. So it was a real balancing act between rest and recovery, but then also actually, you know, getting in there that strength prehab as well. So this is one, this was Jono Freeman and Jeff who actually got me to do this. With everything else from the breakating and dead hanging, I would say that has been the biggest thing for my shoulder health, because I get a lot of messages on that with people struggling, and I just want them to know that there is hope. There is hope. This is, so I call this almost like that silverback strength and conditioning. It's just this idea that you're just kind of building that strong, like latissimus dorsi, but just rhomboids, lower trapezius. I think like so many people are kind of like trap dominant, like upper trap dominant, walk around like that. Looks good in a t-shirt, but it's not actually very functional, whereas just drilling that lower trapezius, latissimus dorsi, that rhomboids, and it's making sure you hear a lot of people as well when they do bent over rows, it becomes quite sort of bicep dominant. I'm exaggerating slightly, but it's like that, whereas what we're trying to do is build that silverback strength, pulling everything back, so it's almost like postural as well. And again, actually, Jeff, my physio, shout out to him, and I love this analogy. He was always saying, we need to make like the lower trapezius, we need to make those strong when rehabbing my shoulder, just because if you think about your arm like a tree, your arm is basically like the branch, and the branch is only ever going to be as strong as the root. So by getting back in, drilling that, strengthening that lower trapezius, the idea is that the branch will be all that much stronger because the root is strong. Did that come across, are you following the analogy of the tree?
Yeah.
Sure.
Sure.
Sure, Ross.
Red light, no way, I'm coming back home. Long dirt road, all on my own. I'ma be the greatest, write my name in stone. Write my name in stone. Yeah, I'm coming back home. Yeah, I'm coming back home. Write my name in stone. Cause I'm coming back home. Cause I'm coming back home. Right back where I left because I know my people needed me. Diamond in the rough, I don't know what it is they see in me. Go down as a legend in my city cause we beat the streets. Trying to spread the wealth around the block, no I can't keep from me. Tell me I should leave. I see the bigger picture and it's way bigger than me.
Right, get the juggernaut. Behold.
Oh God.
The juggernauts.
How much is that? 90?
That's 90. I think that, yeah.
What would you do with that?
Not a lot. No, to me, this is where me and Ash, last time we were down, we managed to lift these. We tried to do farmer's walk with them. We did not get very far, but that's the juggernaut. I think that's the one as well. Matt Morsia, Matt Does Fitness, single arm deadlifted that. I'm not going to attempt it. Okay, now I'm going to bust out some cheeky rope climbs. I think the reason I do this, I think I just kind of have an affinity towards rope climbs, because obviously there was that one time when I stupidly climbed a rope repeatedly until I climbed the height of Everest, and so ever since I just kind of, I like rope climbs, if that makes sense. But also as well, I like to do it after my strength prehab, strength bent over rows, just to add a little bit of explosiveness, a little bit of functional explosiveness into my back workout, if that makes sense. It just kind of, it makes intuitive sense, really. I'm not entirely sure of the strength and conditioning rationale. So it's been a while since I've actually done this. This could go wrong. Okay, that
So that was it.
that didn't take very long.
One-handed?
I wasn't expecting it to be that short.
Try to do it without jumping. Just go from there.
Here.
Yeah.
Oh. I think I found a solution to the lack of height on the rope climb. So I'm going to do sled drag, sled pulls, and I'm hoping this works. Going to work up. I almost call this as well. So we've done the strength prehab, we've done pure strength, we've done a little bit of explosiveness, and then now this, I suppose this is almost like that sort of like work capacity. I almost call it that like horsepower programming, where you're just getting a lot of volume through. Also as well, it's a concentric contraction of the bicep as well. So in theory, there's less sort of muscle damage, less stress on the central nervous system. So we're just gonna keep putting 20s on, up and down, until we run out of weight. Then, depends how we're feeling, but I might do a slight sort of bodybuilding centric workout and actually bust out the occlusion training, the blood restriction training as well, because I've got a lot of questions on that. So with that said, now I'm gonna do, how many do you reckon I can fit on there?
How many plates?
Yeah.
1, 2, 620s? Plus me?
One Hannah.
I've been on the road, I've been doing shows. Now we eating steak, remember sleeping on the floor. We're still at the gas station when the time was cold. In the kitchen, hot still trying to flip it out the stove. Rocking fake J's, praying that nobody knows. Watch them take my dog away, was way too hard to stay composed. Fight to see the light of day, all this blood on my clothes. I was tired every day, green light, it's time to go. I don't wanna live life fast or die too young. Die too young. 100 miles per hour, might crash 'cause it could die young.
It's getting slow. It's getting embarrassingly slow. That's like I was pulling it through cement. Oh. It's weird because it's not cardio and it's not strength. It's that metabolic conditioning, you know, it goes over that weird sort of boundary of the two. But no, I love this. Almost just that sailor strength.
Okay.
I bet Captain Birdseye does these. Captain Birdseye, he smashes these just like smack. Or Popeye. Who do you think's stronger, Captain Birdseye or Popeye?
Isn't it Popeye?
What did I say?
Popeye.
Popeye.
I think it's Popeye, but you said Popeye. Or Popeye.
I'm gonna have to research that later. I feel I've made a fool of myself.
I've been on the road, I've been doing shows. Now we eating steak, remember sleeping on the floor. We're still at the gas station when the time was cold. In the kitchen, hot still trying to flip it out the stove. Rocking fake J's, praying that nobody knows. Take my dog away, was way too hard to stay composed. Fight to see the light of day, all this blood on my clothes. I was tired every day, green light, it's time to go. I don't wanna live life fast or die too young. Die too young. 100 miles per hour, might crash 'cause it could die young.
Just like Popeye. Popeye. Popeye.
Popeye.
I think I'm almost tapping out. I might have to concede in a minute and say that the sled won, which hurts. Hurts my ego more than my arms. I think the sled's won. Thank you ever so much. Oh, that got cheeky towards the end. Oh, I think the reason I love this as well is if you're going to do anything that replicates that swim stroke, that serape effect. So pulling with the biceps, obliques. I think the sled pulls are pretty good. There's one exercise that I'd always keep in my strength and conditioning. Sled pulls. That was hard. So this is never pleasant. So blood restriction training, occlusion training. The reason I do this, I started doing this actually during my rehab, just because obviously after shoulder surgery I couldn't really shift any weight. But when looking at strength training, that mechanical tension is only one way to actually stimulate the muscles. So it's a strength training in its purest form. Whereas with occlusion training or blood restriction training, the theory is that you're basically restricting blood flow to the muscles. So in this particular case, the biceps. And then what happens is, because there's no blood flow, there's no oxygen as well. So what happens is the slow twitch fibers that require oxygen and blood kind of go, hang on, like there's no blood, there's no oxygen, what's going on? So you almost start to switch on those fast twitch fibers that obviously have a higher contractile force and speed, and also larger. So they're the ones that you need. You've got slow twitch fibers for, you know, long distance swimming and running, and then you've got your fast twitch fibers, which you've got for sprinting and powerlifting. So you're essentially switching those on Also as well, there's also that almost like biochemical reaction in the muscles as well. So as soon as you start accumulating lactate, because again, you're targeting those fast twitch fibers, lactic acid goes through the roof, growth hormone goes through the roof as well. So as well as those fast, slow twitch, you're also playing around with sort of the physiology, the biochemistry of it as well. So it's never pleasant, but what I tend to do, 20 reps, 10 reps each arm, setting the speed and tension on here, and then we're probably looking at like, probably, I want to say 5 sets, so 20 reps, 5 sets, 20, 30 seconds rest in between. But by the last one, it's going to get ugly. So I'm going to try and surf the rack, but towards the end, things tend to get a little bit ugly. So please do not watch this for perfect technique, because that isn't the point. Like I said, you're actually chasing oh, I've gotten so heavy to begin with. That is a terrible mistake. Oh God. It's just that one there. Just have one vein, one good one. If anyone comes in now and sees me lifting the weights, I'll be like, I've done more, I promise. So horrible. Like I said, that's never pleasant. I think the other thing as well, like, so when you start looking at like work capacity as well, so your body's ability to perform and positively tolerate training of a given intensity or duration, I think with occlusion training and blood restriction training, it's so good because you can just stick at the end of your workout. And sometimes like bodybuilding centric stuff, it can kind of get, it's like a bit of a dirty word in strength and conditioning, whereas in reality, something like that, especially with blood restriction, so you're not shifting a lot of weight, it's not really stressing your central nervous system, and it's just allowing you to just get a little bit more volume through your workout. So a lot of people say, you know, does it work? Does blood restriction training work? I'm like, yeah, but it's a tool. You know, the same way that, you know, German volume training, 5x5, you know, the list is endless. It's one training protocol, and you shouldn't necessarily be sort of like wedded to one. You should just know how to use all of them. So that was unpleasant, but it was a good day. So that was decent. We did the 10K swim in the day, a little bit of an assault course, and then a strength workout at the end. And that's quite often what I'll do as well. So I always say, every single workout, you should send a clear cellular signal to the body. So what are you trying to adapt to? So for me in the morning, like I said, by doing those 100 meter intervals, it was drilling aerobic fitness, good technique, never letting those biomechanics break down. And then it was nice that was the cellular signal. Obviously then we did the assault course. I don't think there's much strength and conditioning rationale for the assault course, other than it was a lot of fun. I just wanted, I suppose, work capacity, add it on to the end, and then come down and done my strength training. And that's quite often what I'll do, because looking at Gsiq, it's one of the greatest strength and conditioning coaches ever to exist, he talked about the idea of adaptation energy. So in any single day, you've only got so much adaptation energy, so what you can train and adapt to. So for me, I always spend that in the morning on swimming, but if I've got anything left towards the afternoon or evening, I will do something like strength training as well to complement it, but never interfering, like I said, with that swimming in the first instance. So guys, I always say this, but I really appreciate all the comments, just because this is so easy to do. It's just day in the life stuff, and I just get to eat, train, and just kind of hang out. And so I just want to say, I'm waffling a little bit. So that's it, guys. I always say as well, thank you so much, because I love shooting these things. I always say it just because it's just so easy for me to do these day in the life type videos. And I just hope you enjoy watching them as much as we enjoy making them. So as promised, videos every single week. So make sure you like and subscribe. And as soon as I regain any feeling in my biceps, I will get up and I will see you next week.